Hey everyone, welcome to the 200th podcast episode celebration. My name is Dr. TK and I am super excited to actually do this podcast live and take you behind the scenes of what it's been like in my business and my life and my home office to create 200 podcast episodes in a very condensed time frame while also making sure that I drop value. And so if this is your first time joining me on the YouTube channel and or the podcast, I want to express how much gratitude I have for your attendance today. And if you haven't done so already, make sure that you check out the Dope Therapist community. The information will be in the show notes, but you can also receive daily business affirmations if you text the word abundance to 310-388-8603. And so I'll give people a few moments to hop on. I know that we sent out some Instagram posts, some emails, and some text messages because a lot of my coaching students have also seen the journey in terms of me being able to publish these podcasts. One thing that I have made for sure that I did over the last 2 years, and I'll go in deeper detail with that in a moment, is that I made sure to sit down and really ask myself, what is it that my community wants to learn from me? What do they want to learn in terms of therapists going into the business world? Because these things were not taught at all in graduate school, and really honing in on who is my ideal client. Because I know as a business owner that sometimes is difficult to really make that decision because you go from being able to serve thousands of people to then your targeted audience getting smaller and smaller. And so let me just do a check-in and make sure that everything is good on the tech side, and then I'm going to go ahead and jump in. Okay, and let me know if you are coming on live. Let me know what state you're in, and are you prepared for this year to wrap up? All right. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and dive in. Let's go ahead and get this potty started. All right, so I'm gonna switch gears, and let me actually move my microphone just a little bit closer so that we can make sure that the podcast listeners are good. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So welcome everyone to the Therapists Deserve Abundance podcast. My name is Dr. TK. I am a licensed clinical psychologist and the #1 therapist business coach for therapists. And today is a special day because we are celebrating virtually and on the podcast me recording my 200th podcast episode. So as you can see, if you're watching this via YouTube, that we just published yesterday, this week, our 199th podcast episode. And I decided instead of doing a regular audio podcast that I would actually do a video and actually walk my viewers, the community, and the podcast listeners through the journey of how you can create a goal for yourself, go all in, and then what the outcome could look like for you. Okay. So again, if you're new, make sure that you stay until the end so that you can hear about the great things that I have coming up. Okay. So today is number 200. I will be taking you through step by step of the things that I chose to go all in on, how I accomplished this goal. And more importantly, what a lot of people don't talk about is the sacrifice that I had to make, or sacrifices that I chose to make in order to reach my goal. And so this all started back in March of 2020. So March of 2020 is significant for pretty much everybody around the world, at least in the United States, of course, March, because that's the day or the month that our world pretty much went to a halt and then went into what we consider now, which is a new norm. And so in terms of my podcast, at the time of March 15th, I had only, and that was a Monday, okay? I had only recorded 14 episodes. And so let me give you some context and some, history. March 13th of 20, it's supposed to be 2020, my apologies. The world was like, what is this? right? And then on March 15th, we were more like, after the weekend, what the hell? Like, why is this thing called the pandemic or COVID or whatever still here? And what does that mean for us? So again, that's a typo. It's supposed to be 2020, okay? So on March 15th, I decided to go all in, and all of a sudden I got, I'm going to say, a different level of fire that got lit inside of me, because I had clearly time to sit down and really think about, well, what does this mean as it relates to my therapy office, my therapy practice, the clients that I had the previous year in the Dope Therapist Academy. Excuse me, what does this mean in terms of their practice, their business? What does this mean for people who are going to school? What does this mean for my kids? My son is supposed to start school in the next few months, right? So on March 15th, I went on Instagram and I posted this post, and I could not believe the reaction that I received from just me waking up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and this pricked my soul. This is what came to me Monday, March 15th, 2020. Thank you. Okay. So I posted the following: therapists, don't you dare close your damn business this week. Now, clearly we didn't know that we would still be in this something a year later, but all I knew was that something about this situation is not right. But this is not the time to get down, to get mopey. I need to go all in, not just for myself, but for my family. My kids are watching me, and also the community that I serve, which were therapists. So I did cut out the post just so that you can feel why the level of motivation was there also for the therapists that I started attracting at that time. So my post reads as follows, and as you can see, it hit like 864 accounts just for likes. It doesn't include like the comments and engagement. I was like, oh my God, this thing is being shared, saved like crazy, right? So thanks, Dr. Roche. So I say, a great day. Do not stop your business because the large businesses are shutting down. More than ever, you have to take this experience and see your why as to starting a business. You cannot depend on a job to keep you employed when life hits. I'm working from home as a professor and a psychologist due to the times impacting clients and college students, because I was teaching at a high school through a college program, and we had to quickly move the kids remote, and that was not cool because these are now kids. You know what I'm saying? I'm not dealing with adults in the classroom. So then I said, this is a blessing in disguise. I literally prayed for a home-based business within the next year full time, and boom, it happened. This isn't a loss. It's a test to make sure that I can handle working from home and working from anywhere and everywhere in my business for my business in the future. And I'm winning. But best part, I still choose my schedule and my clients. We will never be without work facts. And this is specifically, again, to therapists. And then I say, learn more about a true owner of your business in the Dope Therapist Academy. And then I go on to tell people what the Dope Therapist Academy is. And so then I sat down, same week, y'all, and I realized, I said, okay, what do I need to do to get in front of more people and tell them the information that I feel like is my gift? And I need to get it out, and I need to share it with people. There must be a way. And then it was like, ding, 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 girl, you got a podcast, right? Like, use your podcast, right? And so I said, okay. So I sat down, and I'm a mathematical and logical person. Just break out a sheet of paper, Google, and a calculator, okay? And I just looked up, you can Google this. How many weeks do we have left in this year? But it's March. So it gave me the number. And because I knew, as I mentioned, I had a gift and it needed to be shared, I then asked myself, how many more podcasts do I need to create in order to hit 100? And clearly that number was, you'll see in a moment, it was 86. I had only published 14. So my mindset back in March, that first week of what we didn't know what was happening, was go after it. All this news is popping off. All these things are happening. Schools shutting down, hair shops shutting down, nail shops shutting down. You know what I'm saying? Jobs telling people you can't come in until we know when, or we can't pay you either. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, no. Your girl prints money on demand. I was given that power through my gift. So now I'm going to go share that gift with other therapists. So truth be told, up until March, I was dibbling and dabbling with doing workshops January and February for the general public about business, same things I teach in the academy, but I was honestly scared of niching down specifically to therapists because I thought maybe I won't be able to honestly bring in the revenue that I need to make my business afloat. I was really thinking those things. My coaching business in the public was still very new. I was only doing one-on-one coaching from referral basis, not through Facebook ads, not through Instagram. I was getting people through referrals and relationships with other people. And then I had my first DTA court in July of 2019, but I wasn't supposed to have another launch until like July of 2020. And here we are in March. Okay. So I decided to go after what I wanted. And I realized based off the numbers that I needed to record 3 podcasts a week. But then I also have 2 children in my home. At the time, he just turned 2 on the day we shut down on that Friday. He had a 2-year-old birthday, and we really couldn't have his birthday party the way that we wanted to. Clearly, we can only invite like close family and friends because we didn't know what this thing was, and people were scared to leave their homes. And then we also had at that time a 9-year-old in our home, full-time going to school, and a 2-year-old ripping and running and wanting to jump around everything. So needless to say, I had to lock myself in this office. This office was not decorated like this. We had just moved in 5 months prior to all this happening. And so I knew that I would build my office the way that I wanted to, but I didn't think that I would be locked in here to the point where I felt like I just needed to decorate because I'm here. I ain't got nothing else to do, right? And so I not only recorded 3 podcasts for a week, but I also went double down and I said 2 days a week, I'm just going to batch record my episodes, and I need to record 6 podcast episodes a week these 2 days. And I'm going to show you the process in which what those days look like, because to me, that was a season of sacrifice that some of us don't want to give up because you're constantly thinking about where you want to go instead of where you are now and what you're going to do or what things need to be in place in order for you to get that future lifestyle. And I really sat down and thought about, what do I need to do right now? So your girl was recording 6 episodes a week. So this is what the sacrifice looked like. More than ever, I had to boost up my health game. Our gyms were closed. I was dosing up on like all of my vitamins because no one knew what this thing was. And all I knew was that I was already working out, but I probably need to work out 4 to 5 times a week, dancing, doing some cardio, because I need to make sure that my immune system is on point. Right? Because at that time, they were just like, it's excessively beyond the flu, but the flu attacks our immune system. So I was waking up at 4 and 5 o'clock on some days, a.m. working out. I was recording my podcast at 6 a.m. right after. No, I did not go and take a shower. I didn't want this house to wake up with 3 to 4 people at that time, potentially 5, because my brother-in-law was living with us at that time. And sometimes he would have his son. So granted, we would have at any given time 5 additional people in this home. I don't have time to be recording a podcast, continuously stopping because kids are upstairs running around with a dump truck and it sounds like they about to cave through this ceiling, right? I can't record like that. So I had to make the sacrifice of recording when everybody was asleep. And in the community clearly that I live in, everybody is asleep because they can't go to work. So at 7 a.m., that's when I went into full other mode, which is, I'm a wife. I got to cook breakfast. I have kids. I'm also a therapist. I still need to go upstairs, get dressed, because now I'm working with my clients and now I'm getting new clients on top of new clients because it's this great new world we live in, right? And then on top of that, I still need to create for my business content because I was revving up for what I thought was a summer launch that turned into a spring launch of my program. I would be in bed by 9 p.m. I started listening to a particular manifestation meditation that helped me and my son go to sleep. And now he sees it as, the blue brain. He'll just say blue, blue, blue. And he is trained that when he sees that blue come on the screen, it's bedtime. And it's a 20-minute meditation in which part of it, after 10 minutes, the screen goes black. It looks like you're in the stars. And that's pretty much an indication that we're going to take ourselves through a guided meditation, but my boy goes to sleep. My son goes to sleep, right? So yes, serious commitment and dedication and discipline, Dr. O'Shea, right? And you were there with us, I'm saying, virtually. That was hard for friendships, you guys. Dr. O'Shea is a clinical psychologist, a financial guru. She's out of Oakland, California, and she helps people all over this country, but she was one of my best friends. She is one of my best friends from graduate school. We went to the same psychology program together, and it hurt even for us not to be able to see each other. I still have not went and visited her in Oakland, because every time I wanted to go visit, at least, last year and up to the middle of this year before we start traveling again, I couldn't go because there were all these restrictions on what we could and could not do. And I didn't want to get on a plane and then just sit in the house, right? So needless to say, sacrifices were made, but at 9 o'clock, I was in the bed, and I just realized that the next morning, whatever I was doing today, I just got to do it again, right? So I was able to record over 100 podcast episodes, but get this, because I was so disciplined and because I went all the way in, I was able to publish my podcast by November. I was done recording at the number 100 in November to then be published on December 10th of 2020. So what I'm also sharing with you is what you want wants you to. You have to declare what your goal is, but more importantly, you have to have discipline to go all in. And sometimes as a entrepreneur, saying that we're a business owner, but then you're treating your business like a side hustle, you're not really taking the mentality to go all in. Another thing that I used in terms of mindset was that my podcast became another lead generator beyond Instagram. It really helped me put myself out there as an authority, because I was honestly starting to share, and that's how I started my podcast, was that I really wanted to share all of the mistakes that I made in my business, and then of course how I overcame that, how I invested in myself with coaches to be able to help me grow my mindset in business and my lifestyle and perspective on just who I want to become. Is that it helped me step into another level of authority, where now it's gotten to the point, literally in the last Dope Therapist Academy launch, where students were asking me questions, and instead of me having to answer their questions, I was able to say, oh, I got your answer. Do you want this in a podcast, or do you just want me to shoot you the answer? Because I got it in a podcast. And they were like, well, shoot, you got a podcast? Send me the podcast answer. I think that that is so dope that my podcast is now my FAQs. Think about that, y'all. My podcast episodes, audio and on YouTube, is now serving as my FAQs. So guess what your girl is going to do for 2022? Now that I'm saying that out loud, we are going to go update the enrollment page to add FAQs, and then we're going to add a hyperlink for all of the podcast episodes, just in case people have the same questions as they did the previous cohorts. So in 2021, I was like, I think I need to do this again. I don't know where the 100 number came from, but I do know where it came from. It came from meditation. But because I got that meditation download again, I decided, hey, I'm going to go all in again. Let's hit 100 all the way through and through. But this time, you're going to start from 101 all the way to 200, because prior to that, I had started I was on podcast episode number 15, okay? And so this is something else that I wanted to share with you in terms of, again, my mindset at the end of 2020, because that thing never went away, right? That we thought was like, oh, it's only in March, right? So this is another swipe post that I created, right? Therapists are frontline workers as well. We are essential to the mindset of the world. Now, I'm gonna be honest. Initially, I posted it, then I deleted it. Then I got a download from my higher power God, and he said, no, you're going to publish it. You're going to give a disclaimer, and whoever want to be a hater, if there are any haters, because it's probably in your mind, Takesha, that's my first name. All right. It doesn't matter, because this information needs to be seen. It needs to be heard. So this was the post. Disclaimer: before any other profession decides to bash this post, because I use the word essential provider, you know what I'm saying? In no way, shape, or form do I minimize the huge traumatic impact that our medical professions at hospitals, because therapists are still medical professionals, but specifically at hospitals, have endured over the last 9 months. I really want therapists to come together and give each medical professional free therapy. That would be awesome. Can you give these people who are working in the ER, watching people die left and right? If you want to give back, give one medical professional free therapy for 6 months. I dare you. Do it. I've done it. I did it before this pandemic, right? To teachers and nurses, okay? So I also added, I do want to add that mental health professionals are often discounted or missed when times like this occur. I hope I'm really speaking to you as a therapist. If you don't feel seen. During this current era, mental health providers were not afforded the opportunity to take no time off, either because they forget about therapists. They just only were focusing on, and when I say they, I'm talking about the mass media. They were only focusing on medical professionals not getting days off, forgetting that we got an influx of people that were still alive coming into our practice. That's traumatic as well. It's called vicarious trauma. And then I said, as a matter of fact, every therapist I spoke with that had a business, AKA private practice, doubled and quadrupled their caseload. Okay. From the outside looking in, you may be thinking, that's awesome. Oh my God, they're growing their business. Your business grew. And yes, we are all as therapists super and hellified grateful. Okay. However, what others have not taken into account or consideration includes, but is not limited to, the following. And I'm going to spell this out and put a 1 in the comment box if this is how you as a therapist or a human services provider like a teacher felt during 2020. We had to shut down our physical office that gave our clients space to discuss private issues. A lot of our clients don't have a private practice space to do mental health therapy services online, okay, or a private space to do therapy online. Our offices also gave us space to work without interruptions, aka kids running down 3 flights of stairs. We did not have a vacation as a therapist. And so if you are a therapist and you're listening right now, or you're listening to this later after it publishes on YouTube and the podcast, and this is what you feel like, damn, this is how I felt. No wonder why you are tired. If you want to go back to my previous episode, I talked about that therapists need a real vacation. And I highlighted this particular point. We did not have no damn vacation. Our phones kept ringing for more and more clients to start therapy services because this era has taught the nation that therapy is important. All of a sudden, right? We are very happy as therapists that individuals are now seeking the help that they need. However, some therapists are also parents or caregivers. We had to navigate between running up and down the stairs to ensure that our kids are doing their homework, potty training, this is my story, while also making sure that our clients were okay with loud noises of kids playing upstairs because our kids cannot go outside. I hope that right now you are getting the jitters inside because you're like, damn, this is why I'm tired 18 months later. Even if you ain't got no kids, you couldn't go outside, right? Let me keep going. We have to find creative ways to get sunlight as a therapist now, damn it, because now it's cold. And to make sure that our internet, because streaming was horrible in the beginning of 2020, because now everybody at home, school online, work online, everything online, therapy online, workshops online. Like, it was horrible, right? So now we got to make sure that we're getting our vitamin D. It low-key made me feel like I was working in jail again. I don't care how pretty it is. We were in a jail cell in our house. We had to make sure the internet was working because it would be so horrible for a therapy client to be expressing themselves, vulnerable in tears and stuff online, and the internet kicks us out from being online in the therapy room. Guess what? To the general public, this stuff was happening every single week. Why? Because these EHR systems were not equipped for this amount of streaming. They doing better, but they're not perfect still. Then I said, damn it, I still got more to say. See the comments, Instagram cap me out. Boom, keep going. This week, my son's daycare was shut down. Now, this was the first time, y'all, because it got shut down twice. So imagine putting your business together at home, and then you get your schedule together, and then you're like, oops, now 2-year-old is back at home with you, right? So my son's daycare was shut down, but that did not stop my therapy schedule. It didn't stop my therapy clients from coming or other business schedules and meetings. The trainings I had to conduct in my home. Also being a college professor, having 2 classes a semester for a year straight online, all while a 2.5-year-old runs up and down the stairs while jumping up most of the time. LOL, but I'm screaming inside. Needless to say, I am sure that therapists are not the only, I am sure that therapists are not the only essential providers. We know that medical professionals, other ones, are essential providers. So if you are reading this post and you serve human beings, you are a goddamn essential provider still, okay? Especially teachers. And I said, teachers, damn it, y'all need a raise. Because after these kids were home, I'm like, oh my God, y'all need to double this salary for teachers. This is crazy. I am a college professor of high school kids, and damn it, we need a raise too. So go and tag 2 therapists. And then I talked about some other stuff. Okay. So I really hope that you saw where I, as a business owner serving therapists, started to see like, oh, they need me more than ever in terms of the information I have to share. Hence why I went so hard again in my podcast. Okay. So in 2021, I was like, girl, let's do it again. Sacrifice. I was no longer waking up at 4, but I was still waking up early at 5 and 6 because my body was like, you got to get up and go after it. You said that was your goal. Your son is now at school, but that doesn't mean your schedule needs to change. Keep the same schedule. My same roles still applied. I did minimize the time that I was spending teaching the college because I realized that I was building my own college. That's super fire, right? I did have a different schedule, which is hence why some of my days were later than others. And then I also, for those of you who don't know, talk about going all in. Did you know that I was hosting monthly CE workshops, 3 CEs or 6 CEs every single month, starting in April of 2020 all the way to last weekend? Did you know that? I would publish it on Instagram, but what I always find that's interesting is that therapists are like, I want to grow my business. I'm stuck. I need help. Who knows a business coach? I see this stuff all the time in my DM, in Facebook groups, or people sharing information with me. And I find that it's always interesting that as therapists, we can make sure that we're finding the best CE workshops to be able to be a better therapist. But what kind of business structure will you have if you're not teaching yourself how to be a or a better business owner? So check yourself for your 2022 goals. You should have on your checklist for your goals, how can I also show up and become a better business owner for my lifestyle so that I can have the schedule that I want? It's not enough, you guys, to be able to just say I'm certified in EMDR. Okay, congratulations. But where are your clients? Oh, they didn't teach you how to market in your CE workshop. They didn't teach you how to understand your niche. So now you can turn that one therapeutic service into other streams of income. They didn't teach you how to build a business plan. They didn't teach you how to hire people. They didn't teach you none of that. But then when I talk about DTA, for some therapists, it was all gravy. For some therapists, they were like, thank goodness, this is exactly what I was looking for, because they don't teach this stuff in grad school. So my mission changed. My mission enhanced. I'm going to use the word enhance versus changed. Okay. So my mission during 2020 was just go after it and be there for therapists because there was nobody there for you and you got the gift. So share it with the world. Go all in, TK. That's exactly what I did. Then in 2021, I started saying, you know what? I want to serve 1,000 therapists a year. To me, I did that. Looking at all my platforms, looking at engagement, looking at free webinars, looking at my coaching programs, looking at CE workshops, looking at live events, I think I hit that number. Because sometimes we look at, oh, well, who do we exchange money with? That's not my definition of service. This is free. So if I get 500 people that view this video, I've already hit half my goal. Some of y'all are so stuck on, not saying that money ain't good. Pay attention to your money. But money sometimes will often follow when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in terms of service, because that's linked to your purpose and your why. So my mission for 2022, let me bring it all the way in. My 2022 goal is, for one, specifically for the Dope Therapist Academy, I'm not putting no cap on enrollment anymore. For 3 years, I was putting a cap saying I only want to get 20 students in my cohort. But I had this meditation download one day that said, and I literally heard his voice that said, I know that you are way more capable of serving more than 25 therapists at a time. I did not give you this voice. And hell, let's be real, this loud, assertive, can be aggressive, but in a loving way, voice for you to just serve 10 people. Now, granted, that has its time and space, like for my masterminds. But for your DTA program, you need to be offering that throughout the year way more. You need to make that accessible to every therapist. You need to make sure that you're talking about it every single day, every single week, and every single month. But most importantly, this is what he told me in my download. And I would have these like all the time, the same message. So clearly when I'm getting the same message over and over, I feel like my higher power is telling me, girl, wake up. I'm telling you this for a reason. I'm showing you what the powerful outcome can be of how many lives you can transform in their business and in their lifestyle, simply if you just make something that you have as a gift available to way more people at the same time, right? So I stopped saying I'm only accepting 25 people in DTA. I actually did that toward the fourth quarter. And in 2022, my goal has now up leveled. And instead of me saying something like, I want to help therapists cross over and get to the 6-figure mark, of course, you got to put in work. It's not going to happen in 40 days after just doing 5 modules, right? But I'm really focusing on helping therapists start having conversations. I'm not a financial advisor, but more importantly, telling you who you need to go talk to. Like, yo, you need to go talk to a CPA. Yo, you need to meet your CPA today. Yo, you need to hire a bookkeeper like ASAP. This is a question that I asked my CPA. This is what the answer they gave me, but it's based off my business structure. I think you need to go do the same thing. Are you are you keeping track of your money? Are you looking at your money every day? Are you looking beyond your cell phone? What are you doing? Right? So I'm going to start challenging the therapists this year way more. I just left a message in our Dope Therapist Academy group. I told them, and I told my mastermind students, 2022 is also about the year of collaboration. Finding a therapist, I don't care if you're Black or not. Let me be very clear. As a woman or man of color, it is not enough for you to just highlight your ethnicity and say, people want me. Yeah, people are looking for you, but it's still a lot of us in our little circle, okay? Which means that you got to stand out. You can't just say now, I got a virtual practice. Hell, everybody got a virtual practice. You can't just say I specialize in trauma. Damn it, everybody specializes in trauma. You can't say, oh, I work with people that have depression. Damn it, everybody got a percentage of depression in them. You got to do more than that. So next year, we're going to really push our students with motivation. I can't tell you what to do, but I'm going to encourage you, if you become my student, that you need to start collaborating with one another, even in our community. You guys are sitting on gold. Our mastermind did an epic activity in the mastermind that we had in November. And let's just say this, after they finished that activity, they realized what talent was in the room just with the 12 people who were able to show up to Vegas. And they were like, yo, can I take a picture of what everybody does? Because the problem is you think that people are just good at what they talk about on our coaching calls. You don't take the time out, for example, in your accountability groups to say, yo, how do you manage being a mom? How do you manage being a single mom? How do you manage having a spouse and kids, or having a spouse and spending time with them, or preparing for a wedding? Have conversations. You never know how you can help each other's audience. Collaboration. Me and Dr. Roche, we collaborated a lot in the past. And then 2 years ago, we kind of parted ways because our businesses we finally, honestly, were more clear more than ever about what are the things we want to focus on in our business. Like, she was like, I want to do finances and psychology. And I'm like, I really want to focus on therapists and private practice and scalability, right? So because we were doing that, we ventured off and went to 2 different coaching programs, but it didn't mean that we didn't talk. We spoke damn near every day, like on Marco Polo and now Voxer, right? However, what ended up happening recently, after we were talking about our masterminds that we're both a part of separately, I went to her and I'm like, yo, we've been talking a lot about collaboration, and I'm starting to collaborate with some of my mastermind counterparts. But I mean, let's get back to the old days and let's collaborate with one another. We would do it here and there over the last 2 years, but let's actually write it in the plan this time. So guess what? We're writing her in the plan to my coaching programs. We're writing her in the plan to some things that I'm doing for 2022. And those therapists who participate, they're going to get a different dose, potentially a dose that you've never seen from her, whether it be online and or in person. It doesn't matter. You'll figure it out when you show up. Collaboration is the name of the game. Hence, I am working with therapists to focus on netting 6-figure incomes. Netting. And let me be very clear. Let me spell this out. Seeing clients one-on-one, 30 to 40 clients a week, maybe 25. I don't care if you're getting paid $200 an hour. You're not going to net 6 figures. Let me say it again. Seeing clients one-on-one is not going to help you net 6 figures in a therapy private practice. And that's a huge disclaimer, because some people will walk away saying, she said, join a DTA, I was going to be able to net 6 figures. That is not what I said. Now, can you make 6 figures in your private practice? Hell yeah, I did it by myself. Did I have to see 30 clients a week? Yes. Was I on insurance panels? It can be done. I had a mixture of private pay and insurance panels. However, you will start hearing me talk more of, and a lot of you have heard it before, you need to start shifting your mindset from one to one to one to many. You can't earn more and work less if all of your time is dedicated to one-on-one services and running your entire back office. Wake up. Wake up. When I send an invitation, if you're ready, and I send an invitation for a CE workshop that's just going to expose you to what's possible, take it. Some of those CE workshops are $100 damn. And you're over here spending $1,200, $500 for a CE workshop. I'm sorry, I froze. Hold on. Okay, I froze. You're over here spending hundreds and thousands of dollars for CE workshops to get certified in an evidence-based practice, which is great, but it's not helping you get the clients in those seats to serve them for the evidence-based practice. Think about that. Think smart. Work smarter, not harder. Come on. Okay? So net, six-figure clients, six-figure programs, six-figure practices, six-figure streams of income, whatever it is, claim it. Okay? Not gross. Not gross. Okay? All right. I hope that y'all felt that. That was not in my slides, but I just felt that on my soul. Okay. So let me just bring it on home. You can't see these numbers, but what I do is I keep stats, I keep data. My team goes in and they look at the highest performing podcasts. So I do want to highlight these because I will start back. This is what I also was doing at the beginning of 2020, which is how I recorded about 10 podcasts in the beginning, January to March, is I was coaching therapists via my podcast. And what I did is I said, I want you to submit one question. I had them answer these questions. And then I actually recorded it live and we published it. And then we emailed that therapist and said, hey, the answer to your podcast is here. Click here to listen to this early, but it will be aired on the podcast. And then I also gave them a shout out. So put a 1 in the comment box if you want me to bring that back, because that was fun for me because you're also giving me the content of what you want to learn about. And as long as it's not violating the intellectual property of what we teach our students, I'm going to answer it. And for all of them, I was able to answer it at least 85% of the time. And then I would just say that other 15%, I'm sorry, that's in the Dope Therapist Academy program. You would have to join that program to be able to get the rest of that answer and also the how of how to implement it in your business. But I had no problem doing that. Okay. So some of the podcast episodes that definitely hit like over 200 in terms of downloads were people going from solo practice to group practice, failure to 100K months. So what I talked about is failing the licensing exam. I still to this day, that published in July of this year, I still to this day, at least a few times a month, get a DM on Instagram from someone saying, I finally passed a licensing exam. Your podcast episode helped me see that there was an end of the light at the tunnel. And the fact that you can get 100K months as a therapist helps me see that it's more for me beyond private practice. Come on. Share this information. I'm not just recording this podcast episode for my students. I'm recording it for therapists to share it and share it and share it. Why? Because therapists don't know that this information exists. Okay. We also talk a lot about lifestyle. I find that, well, I should like go in and request like this. I so want to because they tag me on Instagram, but it's through stories. I've received over a few dozen of tags via my students in all of my coaching programs that say, thank you to my coach. I'm flying first class. And they will tag me. And that blows my mind because to some people it may look materialistic, but to us, that's like, no, you deserve that. You deserve to upgrade that ticket. And hell, oh, you going somewhere to do business? Oh, that's a tax write-off anyway, boo. So ride the wave, get that Delta One, extend your legs, and take the meal. Okay? So lifestyle is a very big part of why I do what I do, to teach clinicians to be able to have the exact same outcome, hell, if not better. Right? We also talked about profitability and manifestation. Those were like the big downloads from at least this year. So I actually moved platforms. My platform now for my podcast is in Kajabi, but it still sends it to iTunes and I upload it to YouTube. But just to give you an understanding of why you got to pay attention to your numbers. If I wasn't getting any downloads, I would be concerned that my podcast isn't doing what it's supposed to do. But since I started my podcast with episode number 1, I think right now it's episode number 2 because I like deleted number 1 because it was like a random topic, right? I was just like testing it out. And just so you know, I start recording my podcast episodes on the floor in my office with my headphones with a very loud air conditioner in between clients for 10 to 15 minutes. Why am I sharing that with you? Because you just need to start. Stop trying to act like everything is perfect. I kid you not. I went back and listened to one podcast episode in 2020 and it felt like I had no voice. I even hate listening to it, but I'm not about to re-record it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still content. You know what I'm saying? So on one platform, when I looked yesterday, I had 25,800 downloads on one podcast platform. And then on the new platform, because it doesn't bring them together, I had 3,608. And what I love about knowing your numbers, just like in private practice, you have to know where your clients are coming from. If I know where my clients are coming from, it's going to make me do more of what I'm doing, okay, or switch something up. So I look at things in terms of service and impact. My total impact for my podcast is 29,408 downloads. What does that number mean? That means that even if it's the same group of people or different groups of people, it does not matter. 29,408 downloads have inspired people to be a better person as a mental health provider. That is a huge number, okay? That's way beyond 1,000, okay? So also, I look at impact in terms of who's listening to my podcast. This is very important to me. This should blow your mind when you even look at your stats in Instagram, because it should tell you where people are coming from if you look. So for my podcast, in one platform, it said that, of course, majority of the people come from the US, but then I have Canadian listeners. I have people in the Philippines. I have United Kingdom. I have Romania. I also have about 20 other countries that they're smaller numbers and snapshots, but I didn't include them here. But it's just phenomenal for me to see who's actually tuning into my podcast. I love it. In the new platform, again, the United States represents 98%. But look at this. There's different countries: New Zealand, Austria, Dominican Republic, Germany, and then other. Again, it doesn't matter what the percentage is. The matter is I'm reaching to teach, to inspire. Okay? So recap. Results require sacrifice. I told people to not only come on here to celebrate with me, but to really hear the message in between the lines in terms of when you want something, declare it. My vision was written down on a gold card on my board, all behind my office. It said, even on my vision board, 100 podcast episodes will be done this year. And I did it again this year. And guess what? I'm doing it again and going after it again in 2022. Boom, right? But it's going to only get better because now I'm going to boost up the YouTube videos. And I'm going to make it a point that I do way more videos, because I also found that a lot of the clinicians actually prefer when I do the slides because they can take notes versus me verbally saying it. And then some people like to listen to me as they're driving to work, as they're taking a walk. I may be part of their personal development routine in the morning, right? So thank you, Dr. Roche. Let me go over to the comments. So she said, let me put it on the screen. She said, "I'm so proud of you, my friend. You're the therapist business coach, the GOAT." Come on now, let's go, right? Thank you, Patrice. Thank you, Minnie Rob, all right? So bottom line is results require sacrifice. Results require sacrifice. I'm going to add it requires discipline. Get clear on the end goal. Bottom line, no thought process. Get out of your little therapeutic mind. Go after what you want. Dr. Roche, you going to build up what we talked about in terms of your program. You're going to make phenomenal moves in terms of blending the psychology world in terms of how people see their money with how they actually manage, make, and multiply their money. Let's go. And for all of you who are listening, that's how you should know about your friend's business, because you should be helping spread the word about your friend's business, not just your own. That's the download that I receive from my higher power every single day. Who can I bless today? Who can I share today on Instagram? I always tell my clients, if I ain't following you, that's because you don't engage with me. Or hell, your picture ain't on your post and your real name ain't nowhere on your profile and it's private. I ain't about to be here and sitting here investigating your profile. I'll just say thank you if I don't recognize your name. But I told my clients, interact with me. I follow every single client if I know who you are. But you got to engage with me. Comment. Because if I'm talking to you, I'm going to be like, oh, wait, who is this? Right? Like, connect, okay? Focus on impact and service. People want what you have. Bottom line, you all have a gift. Whatever you didn't do in your business this year, if you down for it, put it on a list for next year. Period. Okay? Periods with a T. Okay? So, as I wrap up, Let me know if you have any questions. Put a 1 in the comment box if you really have enjoyed this. I do want to leave you with a gift because some people, this is your first time tuning in with me either on the audio podcast or on YouTube. So 1, if you are new to my YouTube channel, I am really wanting to make a bigger and significant impact on YouTube. So I am asking everybody who watches this live or watches this recorded, please share my YouTube channel with as many people as humanly possible. Because I do talk about, to me, even if you're not a therapist, you would see value in what I have to talk about. Because right now, what I'm talking about is ambition, discipline, finding your why, and moving through sacrifice. I just target therapists to be in my programs. But if you really look at my messaging, it's to everybody. So I really want to cross over. First, my milestone is 1,000 YouTube subscribers. I have like 500. I think that I can get to 1,000 in January. I don't know about y'all, but I think I can do it. But I can't do it without the help of y'all. There's plenty of podcast episodes for people to catch up on, okay? We got other vlogs on there. I really want to start showing you what it's like to run a business, travel, be a mom, be a wife, and multitask. So we're working on embedding that into my regular schedule at least 1 to 2 times a month. So spread the word about the YouTube channel. Also subscribe, leave a comment. Leaving a comment works just like Instagram. It works with the algorithm. So if you comment letting us know, like you're doing right now, that you enjoyed this video, especially if you're watching it later after the live, I would greatly appreciate it. If you are not already receiving monthly business affirmations, then you definitely want to get on my list. Okay. So what I'm going to share with you is like a sample of the affirmations that I send, because some people are like, well, what is that? I don't want to be spammed. I send them Monday through Friday. Okay. And then if I have like YouTube lives, I will text you and say, hey, I'm going live. Right. So this was the one that went out. Let's see. I'll read this one. So it's this morning. It said, business check-in. Do you calculate your income as gross or net? Listen, I want you to take home a 6-figure salary versus saying I make 6 figures. This is my mission for 2022. Let's level up together. Are you down? On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 is you are fired up. Let me know if you need that take home at 6 figs. I like them to comment back. I can comment back. I can look at this. I sent them a video, like letting them know about something we were having for next year, but I engage with my community. Now, it's not a coaching platform. I don't do coaching, but I do ask you to engage with me in terms of me motivating you to get what you want. So if you want to join me in that text community, you can text the word abundance to 310-388-8603. Now, this is what will happen. Once you sign up and text the word abundance, it will ask you for some general information, and then it'll send you a response saying, congratulations, you're on the list. Also, check your email, but like, it'll say like, get my freebie library. The freebie library includes branding and marketing tips. So if you click on that link, it'll tell you how to sign up, your name and email address, and then you'll be given access to the freebie library. And then you'll be given some motivational emails like spread out, over the next few days, but not that many. Okay. So if you want to get the daily affirmations, whether you're a therapist or not, okay, this is for you, okay, because I want to motivate as many people as possible, but my programs are specifically for therapists, but my podcast and YouTube, this goes across the board to everybody. In terms of connection, if you want that VIP status for notification of events and program offers, including virtual parties, like if I have CE events, you definitely want to get on the text list, because those who were on my list during Black Friday, they knew about things that were limited in terms of seating, in which we actually just closed out the last seat this morning. But they knew about, for example, my live masterminds in 2022, actually 2 weeks before it hit Instagram, or a week before it hit Instagram. And then it only hit Instagram once. It only hit my email list twice. I told them they get first dibs. And so I'm going to say out of the 8 people that took the slots for the mastermind, 7 of them came from that text list. That goes to show you how serious I am about giving you first heads up about events. Okay. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this podcast episode. Again, stay connected. Check out the resources as it relates to the freebie library after you sign up for the text list. I am wrapping up the year with my team. And so this is my second to last podcast episode. I've already recorded episode 201. and it will be ready to be published in about a week. And so stay tuned. That one will go straight through Apple iTunes. If you prefer audio, you can definitely check that out, because not all podcast episodes are also on YouTube. So I did want to make that disclaimer, because some of them may be more audio appropriate. But I'm excited. More interviews are coming from our students for next year. We're embedding that in the video podcast. So I'm really excited. But again, I want to express so much gratitude for those of you who have joined the community on YouTube, who have joined me on Instagram, who have joined me on the podcast, who have joined me in the coaching programs and the Facebook boot camp parties that I had this year. There are so many great things to come, and I really, really appreciate y'all. But remember, we are netting more than six figures in 2022. Look, some of y'all might net it this year. Hello, Freudian slip. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? But I want to bless you all for the holiday. Therapists, if you're a human service, provider, make sure that you get some rest, reset, and recharge, because this new norm is our new norm. All right. So I love y'all. Have a great evening, and hopefully I can connect with you on Instagram. Go and check me out at Dr. TK Psych. And I will see you all next year. Bye.